Welcome to the deep dive. For years, we've mostly talked about AI as, well, a productivity tool, right? Something to help write an email faster, maybe summarize a long doc. But the material you shared, aimed right at strategic business leaders like you listening, it paints a much bigger picture. We're not just using AI anymore. We're fundamentally rewiring how our organizations actually work, how they create value. It feels like we're stepping into a new era, what the sources are calling the frontier firm.
That's exactly it. That's the strategic shift that really matters right now. So for you, the CXOs, the directors, the senior decision makers listening, the mission, it's moved beyond just adopting tech. It's about taking command. The critical question now is how do you become an effective AI agent boss? And it's urgent. We're seeing stats like, 81% of leaders expecting intelligent agents to be deeply integrated within the next 12 to 18 months. Failure to plan isn't really an option anymore. So this deep dive, think of it as the strategic blueprint you need for leveraging these Copilot agents to really expand your workforce capacity in a meaningful way.
Okay, let's unpack that core idea then. Why this sudden, intense focus on rethinking the workforce? It seems to boil down to what the sources label the capacity gap. Basically, business demands are just, well, outstripping our human ability to keep up sustainably.
Precisely. We're seeing a kind of breakdown in the traditional work model. You've got 53% of leaders pushing for more productivity. Okay, understandable. But at the same time, a staggering 80% of the global workforce, they're saying they lack the time or even the energy to do their jobs properly. That massive contradiction, that's the fire right under the efficiency problem we're all facing.
And the data points to a really specific pain point, too: interruption overload. The telemetry shows employees dealing with something like 275 interruptions every single day.
It's almost unbelievable when you hear it like that.
Yeah, I mean, put that in context. It's an interruption roughly every 2 minutes during the core workday. So this capacity gap, it isn't just about the sheer volume of work. It's about constant context switching, the cognitive load.
And if that cognitive overload is the disease, then strategically deployed digital labor is becoming the necessary cure. But we need to be clear here. It means distinguishing between the general assistant we've sort of gotten used to, like a Copilot, and the specialized agent.
Okay, so help us differentiate that, Copilot versus agent.
Right. So Copilot, think Microsoft 365 Copilot. That's your immediate AI-powered assistant. It's the interface, helping with tasks right now. Agents are different. They are more specialized AI assistants or even applications built for more autonomy. They're designed to handle specific processes, solve complex business challenges. We're talking advanced data analysis, predictive modeling, even full task automation and decision-making workflows. They're built for purpose.
And this leads to that really interesting organizational model you mentioned, the frontier firm. Companies structured around, what was it, intelligence on tap, powered by these hybrid human-agent teams.
Exactly. Hybrid teams designed to generate value much faster than traditional structures can. And look, this transition, it isn't just some gradual drift. It seems to happen in phases. The research suggests organizations move through three kind of predictable evolutionary stages. First, you have the human with assistant phase. That helps with the immediate drudgery, the low-hanging fruit.
Okay, that feels like where many are now.
Yes. But then comes the second phase, human agent teams. This is where agents act as genuine, specialized digital colleagues working alongside human staff members on specific tasks or processes, and then eventually the third phase, human-led, agent-operated. Here, humans focus almost entirely on the high-level strategy, the governance, the complex exceptions, while agents execute entire end-to-end business processes autonomously.
Wow, that third phase sounds quite radical.
It is, but we're accelerating into that second phase human agent teams really rapidly right now. And the competitive advantage is proving to be massive. We're already seeing measurable gains. There's a case study, Access Holdings PLA. They use these kinds of capabilities to slash complex report preparation time. Get this, from 6 hours down to just 45 minutes.
6 hours to 45 minutes. That's
huge.
not just incremental improvement. That suggests a major organizational redesign is needed to make that happen, though.
It absolutely does. And this redesign, this transformation towards becoming a frontier firm, it cannot just be handed off to the IT department. That's a key finding. What's really striking is the consensus that this AI transformation, it's fundamentally a business initiative. Functional leaders, business leaders, they are the absolute linchpin for making this change stick. There's a great quote from the AT&T chief data officer basically saying the very first step is to establish a great partnership with the business. The number one goal is to deliver value. It starts with the business need.
So that partnership has to start right at the very top then. with effective executive sponsors, CXOs, maybe working closely with the CTO.
Absolutely. We know from Pressy research on change management that active and visible executive sponsorship, it's the single biggest predictor of success. We're talking boosting success rates up to 79% when sponsors are really engaged and effective.
And their role isn't technical, it's more strategic.
Exactly. It's not about coding. It's about strategic definition, communication, their responsibilities, identifying and prioritizing the top business needs where AI can make a real difference, communicating that vision clearly across the entire organization. And this is critical. Role modeling adoption. If the leaders themselves aren't visibly using these Copilot capabilities, showing how it helps them, the whole enterprise-wide effort loses credibility. It can just stall out.
Okay, but I have to ask, isn't the data readiness piece, the security, inherently technical? If the business leaders are defining the what, aren't they running the risk of, creating more shadow IT or just overwhelming the tech teams with vague demands?
That's a really important point, and it highlights why the partnership is so crucial. It's not one or the other. The business leadership defines what the strategic value, the business need, the specific use case they want to tackle. IT then defines how the right infrastructure, the security posture, the data architecture needed to actually support that use case safely and effectively. It absolutely has to be a shared accountability model, not just throwing things over the wall.
Makes sense. So moving down the chain a bit, the research points to the business or functional leader level, like a VP or general manager, as being optimal for driving the change within their specific area. They have the authority. So how do we set them up for success? The sources mentioned 5 key steps, I think.
Yes, and these aren't just checklist items, they're real change management challenges for those leaders. First, align to the overall AI strategy. Their plan needs to fit within the company's bigger picture. Every agent they deploy should clearly support that core business direction.
Right, no rogue projects.
Exactly. Second, articulate clear goals and use cases. This means defining tangible business outcomes. What needle are we trying to move? They can use things like the Copilot scenario library for inspiration, but they need to tailor it to their specific pain points. Third, set usage goals for tools like M365 Copilot. Not just use it, but benchmarked goals to ensure real, sustained engagement, not just initial curiosity.
Yeah.
Fourth, drive awareness of the skilling plan and resources. Employees need to feel empowered by this change, not threatened by it. Communication about training is key. And fifth, probably the most important, lead from the front. They absolutely must role model using the tools themselves. They need to champion curiosity, encourage experimentation, and crucially, foster an environment of inclusiveness and empathy. Transformation often fails if that middle layer doesn't fully commit to changing their own behaviors.
That leadership piece sounds critical. So assuming we have the leadership buy-in, let's get into the deployment strategy. How do we choose and deploy these agents? You said they combine perception, cognition, action. For a business leader, the sources say the core choice is between a declarative approach versus a custom engine approach. And this choice impacts cost, control, governance.
Exactly. This decision really dictates your internal investment profile and your long-term flexibility. Let's break down declarative agents first. These are essentially built using the existing AI platform's orchestrator and its foundation model. Think building within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem.
Okay, so what are the big advantages there from a strategic view?
Speed and inherited security are the big ones. They're significantly faster to implement, often using low-code platforms like Copilot Studio. This means non-developers, like power users in the business, can potentially build them. And crucially, because they operate within that established ecosystem like M365, they automatically inherit all the enterprise-grade security, the compliance policies, the data handling rules you already have in place.
So no separate security reviews for each one necessarily.
Much less, yes.
Yeah.
And you eliminate additional hosting costs or the need for dedicated MLOps teams just for these agents. They're really perfect for focused, often high-volume scenarios that live primarily within your standard applications like Teams, Outlook, Word. A good example is that internal IT help desk agent automatically responding to specific tagged questions right within a Teams channel. Quick, contained, secure.
Okay, that sounds great for getting started quickly and tackling internal processes. But what's the strategic limitation? Are we sort of locked into that one ecosystem? Does it limit where we can go later?
That is the fundamental trade-off, yes. If your use case needs to integrate deeply with multiple external systems, complex legacy platforms, or maybe proprietary databases outside that core ecosystem, you'll likely hit a wall with the declarative approach. And that's precisely where the custom engine agent comes into play.
Okay, so describe the custom approach. What does that look like from a business leader's perspective?
Custom agents offer maximum flexibility, maximum control. You get to choose your specific large language models, you design the precise orchestration logic, and you can integrate them across a really complex multi-system landscape. This is almost always necessary for those highly complex multi-step workflows that involve very specific business logic. Think about a sophisticated financial loan approval agent. It might need to pull data from internal risk models, external credit scoring APIs, maybe even compliance databases.
It's more powerful,
And
potentially.
it's more powerful, yes. But that power comes with a significant cost and responsibility. It requires additional hosting, often in specialized cloud AI services like Azure AI. And critically, the organization itself becomes fully responsible for governing all aspects of security, compliance, and responsible AI for that custom agent. You absolutely need to invest in the MLOps teams, the security oversight, the continuous monitoring to maintain it properly.
So it really boils down to that strategic trade-off. Speed and inherent insecurity with declarative versus complexity, deep customization, control, but also higher internal investment and governance burden with custom.
That's a perfect summary. And regardless of which architecture you choose, the power of these specialized agents is already transforming specific roles. We're seeing two high-value agent types emerge very quickly: the researcher agent and the analyst agent.
The researcher agent. Sounds like it could be a game changer for strategy teams.
It really is. It's designed to seamlessly integrate sophisticated research models with your internal work data and external web sources. The goal is to develop complex strategic insights that, frankly, might have taken teams of human analysts weeks or months to compile before. And then you have the analyst agent. Think of it as a data scientist in a box, almost. It often uses a Python reasoning engine under the hood for complex data analysis, data manipulation, visualization, all happening right within your secure enterprise environment.
The potential impact is just huge. We saw that example earlier, the global financial services firm. A 95% reduction in customer case processing time using a Copilot agent integrated with custom intake and their CRM. Just incredible. But what do you think was the biggest internal hurdle they likely had to overcome to achieve that kind of result? It probably wasn't just plugging in the tech.
You're absolutely right. The biggest hurdle, almost certainly, wasn't the AI model itself. It was the internal process mapping and refinement before automation. To get that 95% reduction, they had to be incredibly rigorous about defining, streamlining, and cleaning up every single step of the existing manual workflow first. You can't just automate a bad process. That only speeds up the creation of errors or bad outcomes. That leadership commitment we talked about earlier, it was likely essential to force the functional teams to do that hard, unglamorous work of process cleanup before they brought in the agent.
That makes total sense. So moving from a successful pilot like that to broader organization-wide deployment. This is where things often get tricky, right? The sources mentioned 70% of organizations struggle with AI implementation.
They do. And this is why readiness isn't just a nice to have, it's fundamental. Our sources confirm that being properly prepared boosts success rates by something like 3.5 times. It's massive. And that readiness absolutely starts with the data foundation.
Okay, data readiness.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean for the executives listening, the ones who aren't necessarily deep in the IT weeds?
For them, it means confronting data hygiene and governance as a strategic priority. These Copilot agents, they're only as intelligent, as accurate, and importantly, as safe as the enterprise data they can access. So the CIO, working with business leaders, must prioritize cleaning up data access. Think about the classic scenario. An employee uses an agent to search for info on a project draft. But the agent surfaces sensitive executive compensation reviews because, years ago, someone accidentally shared a SharePoint site too widely. That's oversharing. Leaders need to mandate audits of permissions, archive inactive sites that might contain outdated or risky data, and rigorously classify sensitive information using mandatory data labels and policies. The simple rule is if a human user shouldn't see it, the AI agent definitely shouldn't be able to access and potentially regurgitate it.
So connecting this back to the bigger picture, security and governance can't be an afterthought. They have to be baked in from day one, viewed as mission critical.
Absolutely non-negotiable. And this requires that cross-functional partnership. We keep mentioning IT, legal, security, risk, compliance. They all need a seat at the table right from the very beginning of any agent project. Key actions include setting up robust monitoring specifically for sensitive data being accessed or generated by AI, implementing protections against things like prompt injection, where someone tries to trick the agent into bypassing its safety controls, and ensuring comprehensive AI usage auditing is in place. You must log user prompts and agent responses for traceability, for compliance, for incident investigation. And you need clear retention policies for AI-generated content, just like any other business record.
Okay, this brings us to the ultimate question for the business leader. How do we actually define success? The sources say only about 35% of organizations are effectively demonstrating measurable value from AI right now. How should leaders measure the ROI of becoming an AI agent boss, especially when some initial gains might just feel like time saved?
That's the crucial pivot leaders need to make. AI investments simply must align directly with core business KPIs. Are we driving revenue growth, reducing operational costs, improving specific efficiency metrics, mitigating key risks? Time saved is an important input metric, yes, but the real goal is value creation, the output. So, leaders need a structured measurement framework. The sources suggest tracking across 3 dimensions. 1, readiness metrics. Are our systems technically ready? Are our people skilled up?
Okay, the foundations.
Exactly. 2, adoption metrics. Are people actually using the tools? How often? How intensely? We see things like the AI adoption score suggesting that sustained habit-forming use, the kind that leads to real impact, often correlates with usage on at least, say, 12 out of the past 28 days.
So tracking engagement.
Right. And third, and most importantly, impact metrics. This is where we focus squarely on those hard business outcomes. Yes, productivity gains like time saved, but crucially, measurable effects on those core KPIs we talked about. Customer satisfaction scores going up, product development cycle times coming down, quantifiable cost savings hitting the P&L. Tools like Copilot Analytics, including its Business Impact Report feature, are becoming essential for connecting the dots, for linking adoption patterns back to these strategic business goals.
And that ability to actually quantify the value, to move beyond anecdotes about saving time and into measurable financial or strategic impact, that seems like the true hallmark of a successful frontier firm.
That's absolutely right. That's when you know the transformation is real.
Well, this deep dive has really laid out the strategic roadmap, hasn't it? For leaders listening, it clarifies how to transition into that role of the AI agent boss and really guide the organization through this fundamental shift.
Yes, and perhaps we can summarize the key actionable insights from the source material. For you, the leader looking to leverage Copilot agents effectively, the strategic roadmap really involves 5 critical steps. First, embrace the AI agent boss mindset. Recognize that your primary role is evolving. It's shifting from just managing people to strategically deploying and managing these digital agents to systematically close that capacity gap we discussed.
New way of thinking about leadership.
Definitely. Second, drive a business-first strategy. Ensure these AI initiatives are truly led by executive sponsors and functional leaders who actively align every agent use case with core business KPIs focusing sharply on revenue, cost, efficiency, and risk. Define what needs transforming from a business perspective.
Business outcomes lead.
Third, select the right agent type. Make that critical choice between declarative agents best for speed, consistency within platforms like M365, inheriting security or custom engine agents, which you need for those complex multi-system workflows requiring specific models, and more internal investment in governance.
Choose your tool wisely.
Fourth, prioritize data and security readiness. Don't skip this. Conduct a thorough readiness assessment. Focus on data hygiene. Audit those permissions relentlessly to eliminate oversharing, and implement robust governance, security controls, and clear audit trails. This ensures the agent's intelligence is both safe and accurate.
Get the foundation solid.
And finally, fifth, establish quantifiable ROI metrics. Implement those measurement frameworks: readiness, adoption, and critically impact. Use the analytics tools available to track not just usage, but real productivity gains and tangible business outcomes. Ensure every AI investment delivers measurable strategic value back to the organization.
That's a powerful checklist. We've talked today about this evolution of work, defined by those 3 phases: human with assistant, then human agent teams, and finally human-led agent-operated. It really feels like we are moving rapidly into that second phase now, where agents are becoming sophisticated, specialized digital colleagues taking on defined, measurable work. So the final thought for you, the leader listening, is this. If you aren't actively leading the charge now to define the optimal human-agent ratio for your specific organization, your key processes, will you even have the capacity to catch up later?
That really is the pivotal strategic question for 2025, isn't it? It's what will likely define the competitive landscape moving forward.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.